Control the controllables. And we're here to talk about how we can get better by 10% in 3 areas. Think about that now. If each person on your team got better by 10% in 3 areas, that's a 30% performance improvement. 30%, 30%, 30%. Each person on the team gets better by 30%. You've got the raw material to differentiate yourself from the competition. Let me say it another way. And again, put it in your notes or pretend like you're putting it in your notes. If you're ready, say ready. Thank you for laughing there. Plan, do, review. The new competitive advantage in the 21st century. Plan, do, review, the new competitive advantage in the 21st century. Okay, some of you may not love the New England Patriots, and you may not even care about football, but I want to make this simple point. There's teams out there, again, you're the corporate athlete or the entrepreneurial triathlete, and the New England Patriots went to the Super Bowl year after year after year. They would plug and play different players. How could they plug and play different players and still get to the Super Bowl? I'm going to argue that company had a better plan, do, review system. They would pre-plan, they would execute the plan, and then after they played the game, they break down the game footage better than their competition. Are you with me on this, people? If you want to beat the competition, it may not be what you sell. It may not be how you sell. It may be plan, do, review, and each person in your firm or in your organization getting better by 10% in 3 areas. So if you haven't taken a note, but you have your iPhone or your smartphone with you, I want you to take a picture of this. Take a picture of this particular visual. Because this is the operating system that's going on inside your company, inside your family, your church, your synagogue, your mosque, wherever you are. There's only 3 disciplines, 3 ways to improve. You might even call this, let's give this some synonyms, the operating system. The operating system. This is the operating system. This is the engine of your organization. The bookends of excellence. Plan and review. Now, I want to give you some synonyms. Go to the word plan, and I want you to put preparation. Preparation. How can we prepare more by 10%? Go to the do and put execution. How can we execute better by 10%? Ask more questions. Change our mindset. What happens to you happens to me, Mr. or Mrs. Customer, versus what happens to you happens to you. I sold it to you. Peace. We're out. It says the coaching cycle. I want you to put a synonym. We're going to call it the performance improvement cycle. For your notes, the performance improvement cycle. We'll take another crack at it. Let's call it the value cycle. The value cycle. Why would we call it the value cycle? Because there's only 3 areas to create value. Preparation, execution, reflection. Let me give that to you again. I want you to go to each word on this visual. Put the word value in front of it. You should have a value plan at the beginning of each day to drive value for your customers and prospects. Then in front of the customer, you should be doing a value exchange. And then at the end of the day, you and your team in Kentucky or at lunch or whatever, you should be doing a value review. How did we do today? Let's break down the game footage. Too often times we do a sales autopsy at the end of the day or end of the week. Our numbers aren't where they need to be. We need to do a value review. When you win, it's because you drove value. When you lost, it's because there was a value gap. This whole thing is about value. Let's call this the value cycle. The value cycle. So of these 3 areas, which is the area that you and your team need to get better at? What separates top performers from average performers? I'm going to give you this list, and then I'll have you do some talking. Y'all trying to make me do all the hard work here today. Here we go. Top performers versus average performers in sales and marketing. Top performers, I think, even at the retail level, position themselves as thought partners. Average performers, just a sales rep. I'm just pushing product. You've been acting more like a top performer or an average performer, a thought leader, a thought partner. Hey, we got some news you can use. Hey, we know some stuff. What separates top performers from average performers? Top performers or subject matter experts lead with market knowledge. Average performers lead with product knowledge. Now, sure, we're here to talk about product, but the best start with, let me talk to you about what's going on in the market. Let me help you anticipate. Let me give you some news you can use that nobody else kind of knows. When you go into the store, someone's coming to you and you can educate me about trends and changes. I want you to put this in your notes. Did you know? Have you heard? Were you aware? That's what this one is about. Did you know? Top versus average performers. Top performers create value. Average performers sell price. All right? Top versus average performers. Let's continue with the list. If you're ready, say ready. Top performers think on paper. Now, I know this sounds silly, but if you're going to be doing a review, if you're going to be in a meeting, if you're going to be at service on Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, I am surprised how many great sermons I've heard and ain't nobody taking notes. I was like, well, what? I mean, some people got it like that. They don't have to take notes. For the most part, though, note-taking is a leading indicator of execution. No notes, no execution. In your strategy sessions, no, I didn't call them staff meetings. Put that in your notes. No more staff meetings, strategy sessions. No more staff meetings. It should be a strategy session where you're strategizing how to get better by 10% in 3 areas. And you're using plan, do, review as a diagnostic tool. Where do we need to up our game? Average performers keep it in their head. Whether it's, staff meeting, weekend service, whatever the case is, you got to put it on paper. In fact, put it on your notes. Tip top, tip top. Some of us need to get into tip top shape. I know I do. Tip top. It's a playful little acronym. To improve performance, think on paper. Tip top. To improve performance, think on paper. We in strategy sessions, used to call them staff meetings, ain't nobody taking notes. We in service, nobody taking notes. So either the content isn't worthwhile or maybe I'm not bringing my A game. For your notes, personal development is the leading indicator of business development. Now that's noteworthy. Personal development is the leading indicator of business development. Top performers are using LinkedIn. Average performers are getting left out. I'm being playful with my language, but you know what? They call it social media. I would call it social prospecting. You see, top performers are using Instagram, Facebook. That might be a superpower for many people in this room. Or for some of us, maybe we're a little bit behind schedule on that. I know I got to step up in that area. But my point is, it's really social prospecting. Top performing organizations and leaders anticipate. Average performers react. This is true for fathers, grandfathers, dads, moms. We anticipate versus react. Top performers end their meetings, strategy sessions, not staff meetings. They end them in advances. Okay, we're moving forward. We got a game plan. Guess what average performing companies do? End their meetings with what I call dances. We met, we talked, and you know what? There's no forward movement. Can you relate? Top performing families have a plan, do, review culture. Top performing companies have a plan, do, review culture. Top performing marketing departments have a plan, do, review culture. Top performing men and women have a plan, do, review culture. Average performers, go, 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 do, hustling. I'm busy, I'm going, I got stuff going on. Hey, well, the message from the market is slow down to speed up. Slow down a little bit now. Think on paper. Run a strategy session, not a staff meeting. Change your mindset from what happens to you to what happens to you happens to me. What's the number one new action that you should take in the next 7 days? What's the number one action you should take? I'm going to call it a should because some of y'all may not want to do it. But if you came here to SEMA to get some news you can use, get a reminder of how to move from average to top, to get a visual. Maybe you always knew in your company, you're like, Daniel, plan, do, review is not new, but I never saw it put on a clean sheet of paper in such a third grade way. Now, what I love about it is you just took a complex subject and you made it third grade. And because you've made it third grade, I can remember this, I can take it home, I can put it into action, and I can teach it to my family, and I can teach it to my team. Are you with me on that thing? So if you came in here for algorithms and, the square root of 15 and some complex slides, I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that takes the algorithm like Google, where there's a whole lot of good thinking behind it. But there's just that little search engine. And this is the Google search engine. Plan, do,